What's good, Washington fans? So I just wanted to talk about the quarterbacks that we could possibly trade for. Of course, first is DeShaun Watson. Then I'll go into an honorable mention. I'll say like 3 or 4 guys that I think that we could kind of trade for. I don't know if DeShaun Watson really is realistic. He did officially request a trade today. 33 touchdowns last year, 7 picks, 3-time Pro Bowler. Had a 70% completion percentage passing the ball this past season. Had 400-something rushing yards on the year. I mean, the guy is incredible. I mean, he definitely would make us a playoff team, easily a playoff team. It just depends on how much you want to give up to DeShaun Watson. Are you going to give up this year's first-round pick, the 2022 first-round pick, 2023 first-round pick, and a third, and maybe Matt Ioannidis or maybe Tim Settle or something like that? Nobody's going to want Landon Collins. A lot of people are throwing Landon Collins in trade talks. Nobody's going to want Landon Collins. Nobody's going to want that contract. But DeShaun Watson would clearly make us the best team in the NFC East and clearly make us a perennial playoff team for maybe the next 10 years to come. So maybe even a Super Bowl in the next 4 or 5 years if DeShaun Watson comes to DC, or even 3 years. Who knows? But I don't think we have enough draft capital. We have to compete with the Jets, the Dolphins, the Colts. I don't know about the Patriots, but the Niners, we have to compete with them as well. So there's going to be a bidding war with them. And I am hearing Matt Stafford is next on the list. I am hearing that Matt Stafford will most likely be traded to the 49ers. That's what I'm hearing so far. They do have a higher pick. And I've heard they really like Matt Stafford. You know, Matt Stafford is incredible. 38 game-winning drives, 31 fourth-quarter comebacks. And I remember 2 of those are against the Washington football team. 2 of those game-winning drives are definitely against the Washington football team. I remember when Kirk Cousins was our quarterback and Matt Stafford led them down to score. And then he did it again this past year for a 61-yard field goal. So Matt Stafford's really good, and he has a team-friendly contract as well. I mean, I wouldn't mind him. I know he's 33. I know he's on the older side, but I mean, he's played in 16 games. Like, he's only not played 16 games one time in his career. I mean, he's thrown for like 4,000 yards over and over and over again. He's threw for 5,000 yards in one season. The guy is a stat sheet stuffer. He's just a tough guy. He's tough as nails. You know, he plays through injuries. His last 1,000-yard rusher was Reggie Bush. That's how long ago Matt Stafford had a 1,000-yard rusher. So he hasn't had a lot of help around him with a running game and hasn't really had a tough defense. If he comes here, we do have a legitimate running back, Antonio Gibson, and we do have a legitimate defense. So that's something that, you know, Matt Stafford hasn't had in Detroit in a long time. And, you know, if he does come here, you know, Kenny Galladay might come here with him, or Marvin Jones Jr. or other big name wide receivers, free agent wide receivers are going to want to come to Washington because of the quarterback. So if Matt Stafford comes here, it's not just, you got to understand, you're not just traded for Matt Stafford. Other guys are going to want to come here. You know, maybe Corey Davis, other big name wide receivers are going to want to come to Washington. It's going to be more of an attractive place to come for other free agents. And we still would have a decent amount of cap space because we would only have to pay Matt Stafford like $23 million because the Lions are going to be paying his signing bonus before the Super Bowl, or before, I think it's like March 5th is when the signing bonus kicks in. But to get Matt Stafford, you're gonna have to give up a first-round pick, probably a first and a third or something like that. You might have to give up more. I know the Colts want him and the 49ers want him. The next guy on the list is Derek Carr, man. I'm actually starting to like Derek Carr. I'm starting to like Derek Carr, man. He threw 27 touchdowns, 9 picks last year. I know some people in Oakland do question his toughness. I remember he was crying on the bench. I think some fans gave him the finger or something like that. He was yelling at fans and stuff like that. Some people did question his toughness, but he was an MVP candidate in 2016 when they did go 12-3. You know, the Jack Del Rio connection. Matt Stafford, you already know he has the connection with Martin Mayhew. So there's a couple connections here with these quarterbacks. Derek Carr. I always call him David Carr. But Derek Carr, man, and his contract is really team friendly too, man. This year he's getting paid $19 million. This past year in 2020 he's getting paid $19 million. This year coming up is $19,625,000. I'm looking on Spot Track right now, and that's really affordable for a quarterback. He's 30 years old, he's 29, about to turn 30, so he's really not that old, honestly. And he's not a statue in the pocket. He could definitely move around. He did beat the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes, and he almost beat the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes again. but really wasn't his fault. And he helped resurrect Nelson Aguilar's career this past year. Nelson Aguilar, his career looked dead in the water. And he comes and plays with Derek Carr, and Derek Carr revives his career. So he has some weapons with Darren Waller and some other guys too. But Derek Carr is not bad at all, man. He's had some good seasons in the NFL. Like I said, he was almost an MVP candidate, or he was an MVP candidate in 2016. I know that was 3-4 years ago, but he played well this year, 27 touchdowns and 9 picks. That's pretty darn good, man. And he's been a fourth quarter comeback kind of guy too. 21 fourth quarter comebacks and 24 game-winning drives in his career. So he had a really good year this last year. A sleeper guy to me is Marcus Mariota. I know, former second pick of the draft out of Oregon. Some people think he was a bust, but he really wasn't that. He made a Pro Bowl one time with the Titans too, and he can run. He's really, really fast. When I did see him play on Thursday Night Football when Derek Carr pulled his groin and Marcus Mariota came in for relief, he kind of had a Taylor Heineke kind of performance. He had 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Ran for 88 yards in that game. That guy has some wheels. Marcus Mariota is super, super, super fast, and that's perfect for Scott Turner's offense. I think you only have to give up a 4th round pick for Marcus Mariota, and his contract's not bad either. He's like $10 million coming up next year for his contract, which is a good amount of money for a backup. But he would definitely fight for the starting job. If he doesn't start, then you just cut him, because I don't think there's any dead cap hit if you do cut him, or it's a very low dead cap hit if you cut him this year. For Matthew Stafford, of course, I'm giving up a 1st and a 3rd for him. Derek Carr, a 2nd and a 5th. I wouldn't give up a 1st. You might have to give up a 1st for him, but I would offer a 2nd round pick and a 5th round pick for Derek Carr, first and foremost. Now, Marcus Mariota, I would just give up a 4th, and that's really it. But I like the fit with Marcus Mariota. He can run, man. He can move. He is very shifty, man. And he has won a playoff game. I know a lot of people knock Matt Stafford for not winning a playoff game, but Marcus Mariota won a playoff game. He had a comeback game against the Chiefs and Alex Smith a couple years ago. Honorable mention, guys that you got to think about. I would say kind of Sam Darnold. I'm not a fan of Sam Darnold, so I really wouldn't trade for him. Mr. Seeing Ghosts. I would not trade for Sam Darnold, but he would be a cheap option. And I think he just needs to change the scenery. I think he's better than what he showed this past year. Adam Gase is just an awful coach, and he definitely regressed under Adam Gase. He got worse this year. Another guy is possibly Gardner Minshew. He had 16 touchdowns and 5 picks this past year, so he's put up some good numbers, but he's just not mobile. I'd rather have Taylor Heineke than Gardner Minshew, in my opinion. So those are most of the guys on the list here to trade for. I already went over the free agents, so of course, we had to talk about DeShaun Watson. I don't think it's good, but I will never say never. Never say never. And they say Washington is supposed to be very aggressive this year, and they're a sleeper in the DeShaun Watson sweepstakes. They're kind of a sleeper in Matt Stafford, kind of out there. But I think the Derek Carr rumors are definitely heating up. They're definitely heating up. I have heard some people say Derek Carr to DC, but I don't know. I think, honestly, I wouldn't be mad at them. It just depends on what they give up. If they give up a 2nd round pick and a 5th round pick for Derek Carr and they don't give up a 1st, I'm not mad at that, because we do have 2 5th round picks from the Trent Williams trade, and we do have our 2nd round picks have just been awful this past couple years. It's just been really, really bad. So 3rd round is the sweet spot for us. For the most part, 4th round picks, they've been okay. But yeah, the sweet spot for us is really, really the 3rd round. So I wouldn't be mad if we did trade for Derek Carr. Like I said, the connection with Jack Del Rio. And Derek Carr, he's put up some really solid numbers in his past career, in the past couple years. So I wouldn't be mad at that. Oh, also Matt Ryan. Almost forgot about Matt Ryan. Now, his contract is really, really, really fat. So I highly doubt we make that move. He's gonna make $23 million, $40 million cap hit for the Falcons, $23 million in 2021. So I doubt we make that move. And he's a former MVP, 4-time Pro Bowler. So I mean, he puts up big numbers. He definitely throws the ball downfield. But I don't see us really trading for Matt Ryan. He's 36. He's gonna turn 36 in 2021. So I highly doubt we go after Matt Ryan. What they would want in return for Matt Ryan is probably a 1st round pick for Matt Ryan too, because he does put up big numbers. They were 4-12 this past year, so he's definitely getting worse and worse each year, and he's not the most mobile guy either. Almost forgot about Matt Ryan. So those are the possible quarterbacks that Washington would have interest in trading for. I think at the top of the list right now, because I don't think we're going to get Matt Stafford. I guess top of the list is DeShaun. After that is Derek Carr. Then Marcus Mariota after that. So you guys let me know what you guys think. I know everybody loves DeShaun. I would love DeShaun to DC too. So, hail to the football team. Peace.